quick video on the CCM T2 today. So I've had this gun new since 2018. You can still buy new CCMs. Everybody asks that question, but CCM only does a limited run of the marker. So they'll do a bit of S6s, 6.5s, T2s, and so if your name is not on the list and you miss that opportunity, you're stuck looking on the used market, and the used market is expensive right now, oftentimes paying more than what they went for new, even for a marker that's could be 10 years old, you know. So it's market's pretty crazy for them right now, and it's because they are amazingly built in the United States. Quality is amazing on them, very nicely manufactured. Everything is very tight in the tolerances, and there's a lot of adjustability in these things. They're pretty good. There's nothing wrong with them. They are, you know, the pinnacle of pump markers out there. Pretty much, I think this and the MVP are the two top of the line. Inception's up there as well, but Inception just lacks some of the little finesse that the other ones have. Like, you know, their spring rates are a little bit stiffer than everything else. So yeah, the T2 separated by the, like, it's separate from the S6, which is the full body one. There's also a T2F version that's a full body. The 6.5 is also a half block like the T2, so it's, you know, half right there. But the T2 is a quad rod, so you've got a rod here, main guide rod, bottom, and you've got another rod on the side. So the 6.5 does not have the one over here. Otherwise, they're damn near pretty identical. The T2 has a detent on the body that's between the two halves, and that's what stops the ball from rolling out of the breech when you're feeding in there. Otherwise, you need to have the right sizer past that once it's past there. You can get these with multiple different sizers right here. There's whole kits on them. Obviously, it's not as good as a more full-length sizer for consistency, but you know, they do work, and they do work quite well. I personally don't think I've ever shot paint through this barrel. When I get a new marker, I use my barrels I like, pull the current one off, throw it in the bag, and leave it. That way it's not scratched up when I go to sell it. This one's pretty much maxed out. I think the only other thing you can get for this thing is a hush bolt from Tect, but I don't really like those. It does not fix the problem of blowback. You get a little gas coming out from the bolt over here, so if you have a small hopper like a 50 round, 75 round, you're probably going to want to have a hole in there to vent some of those gases. It doesn't really seem to stop the next ball from falling in the breech, but it is more annoying than anything having to go snap your lid back down. And it's not really having anything to do with the timing. You could have it under 1/8 inch and still it won't matter. So this one originally came with what I like to call the handle. This is a standard pump kit. I don't really care for these. All of my other pumps have been with the Easy Grip. Now CCM did change the Easy Grip. I think it's the Easy 2 now profile. I don't really care for it as much as this one. This one's my favorite. It's the go-to one. So that's what I use. I had to pay extra for that. I got this thing off their site. It was not a blemished one, but they occasionally have customers who back out, or they have blim items where there's an anode problem, and they put it directly on the website, so you didn't have to pre-order it. And when I got this one, I think there were 8 or 9 on there, and this one had an 86 frame, which I wanted because I wanted something nice and tight. I wanted a half block, and you know, I wanted to be able to play really tight when I was playing pump. This thing fit the bill perfectly, and that's really why I got it. Now, I love this thing. I use it in tournaments all the time. The one downside, though, is if you don't have a slot blocker on here, you can get dirt in your lower tube, and if you get hit directly on a lower tube, you can get dirt inside your inside the hammer in there, and that slows down the velocity. You'll lose 100 feet per second or more, and you're over for the game. Almost the day, because it takes a lot to go in there, pull out, and clean it. Not the easiest thing to do in the field, especially when you're rushed between rounds if you're playing a tournament. Not fun. So, you buy the aftermarket slot blocker. That thing, it works for keeping out dust and dirt and most paint. However, if you get hit right over here, or as one time I found out, I had it open like this when I got shot, paint's still going to get in there. So does it reduce paint getting into a lower tube? Absolutely. It's a worthwhile investment. And if you have a 6.5, you can get the whole new back piece right here that has the slot blocker, and there are a couple people make them. I think Mozak Machine makes them. This particular slot blocker is from Old Dirty Modder. I will link his Instagram here if I can find it. But he makes high quality products, and he makes a lot of different grip panels, things like that, which are just amazing for him. Very well done. He's in the UK, but the shipping time it wasn't bad at all. I was incredibly impressed how quickly I got it, how close the ammo matched to it. The guy takes his damn time, you know. If you can get them raw, you can get them already anodized. Now I did get a lever lock from CCM. It's this little guy right here. Normally you have just an Allen key. So there aren't many upgrades. It's really 3 points from the factory if you don't include the handle. You've got lever lock you can get from CCM. You can upgrade the bolt from Tex, and you can get a slot blocker too. And that's really the only upgrades you're ever going to need to this thing. But yeah, lever lock, awesome. One thing, compared to the full-size marker, these things do not have full adjustability for the cocking point. It is set with the lug depth, where the lug sits in here and catches on the sear. That also affects auto trigger timing on here. So what you want to do is you want to get it about 1/8 inch right there. That's what you want. But the cocking point really is set by the milling in the hammer back here. And it is not, let me see, I think I have a spare one. It is machined into the top, so you cannot adjust that. Now the lug is right here, and the lug depth is going to adjust the kind of the timing overall catch point too, but it's not the same thing as a full block where you can actually set the cocking point. But the T2s are damn near perfect. They are incredibly smooth, lightweight, just like every other CCM. They are built to the highest degree of quality, amazing. Yeah, I mean, incredibly lightweight. They do tend to run higher pressure in the raid compared to, say, some of the like WGPs and stuff like that. But they also have a different valve and they're in a lighter spring. So I don't really care about pressure. What I do care about is the stroke on that when you're actually playing all day long. And there is no drag, no resistance. This thing is just amazing. And there's a spring in here too, return spring for it. But incredibly light. It's very well done. You know, CCM knocked it out of the park.